Joining us, they've been with us the whole time in all of this. David Schoen is a civil liberties attorney, criminal rights attorney. Sara Carter, investigative reporter, Fox News contributor. David, let's go to your legal expertise first. I've read this 3 times now, the entire transcript of everything that went down on Friday. I don't think in all my years of reading court cases, even somebody as stinging as Antonin Scalia, that I ever saw or read a judge being this brutal to one side.
Judge Ellis is a no-nonsense judge. He's been around a long time. He's in his late 70s. He's on senior status now. Great background, brilliant guy. He's had enough. Look, the statute is very clear. The regulations are very clear. The limited jurisdiction of the special counsel is to be set out a specific factual statement of the matter to be investigated. That's Regulation 600.4. If it's to be expanded, it has to be on specific approval of the Deputy Attorney General, if the Attorney General, as in this case, has recused himself. He wants to know what it is. There is no longer any reason for the American public, for the judiciary, for Congress to be kept in the dark about what this mandate is for this special counsel. And it's also why we have said from the start, we need someone other than Rod Rosenstein in the position. Someone capable needs to be in that position to rein this thing in and to set out finite parameters to this investigation that we're all made privy to.
Well, this is the argument that the judge, when the judge goes in, oh, you're like putting the screws to Manafort. Literally saying, come on, man. I'm reading a judge saying all of this. I see this in drug cases all the time, but you can't tell me that, a tax case from 2005 to 2007 has anything to do with the mandate that was put out by Rod Rosenstein to the special counsel, Robert Mueller and his team. And I'm sitting here saying, finally somebody's saying it, Sara Carter, because it doesn't have anything to do with Trump-Russia collusion. And it's all about getting information to use from Manafort to prosecute or to impeach Donald Trump. The judge said it, not me.
The judge did say it, and what Mr. Dreeben wouldn't say, who was there arguing on behalf of the special counsel and Weissman, which I think is really interesting, he wouldn't answer the question the judge kept asking him over and over again, because I went through these documents, these court documents multiple times too, Sean, and he kept saying, you're trying to get this bird to sing. You're not bringing me anything new. These are old cases, and what are you trying to do here? You're trying to twist his arm into saying something, because one of the things the judge was really concerned about is, are you trying to get him to sing or are you trying to get him to compose? Which means, are you trying to get him to make up something? Because your target really here is President Trump. And we're not going to put up with this. He also, I think, which was an excellent statement, said, we don't want in this country we don't want anyone with unfettered power. Not you, not the president, not anybody. And I'm here to check you, and I'm checkmating you on that. And you need to answer my questions. And over again, Dreeben refused to answer those questions.
Over and over again, the judge said, that's nice. You're not answering my question. Do you need me to remind you of what my question was? I've never... Look, David, you have so much more experience than I do in a courtroom. And I know there are flamboyant judges out there with extraordinarily strong personalities. This is the strongest I've ever seen.
And that's not this judge. This judge is not one of these flashy, flamboyant people trying to make a show of himself and make himself the show. That's not what went on here. They've had enough. Listen, all of these things are tied together that you and Sara Carter have been reporting on for a while. These phony redactions, when they're finally revealed, we see there was no reason to redact the Comey memos. There was no reason to redact the Flynn-related material that's now come open. These are all things that undermined the government's case. That's why they kept them redacted. This is a pattern for people like Andrew Weissman, trying to convince people that what's false is really true. This judge had enough of that kind of thing, and I hope we're seeing a start. If we see Congress pushing and we see the judiciary pushing, and you keep up this fight, it's going to come out. It's going to come out in the open. And on top of all of this, of course, as you've reported many times, Sara Carter has written about the FISA applications. We've got to get to the bottom of that, find out what exactly was in them. There is no longer any need for those.
Well, the judge is demanding that also, and the judge is going to get that.
Well, that's exactly what the judge says. I mean, if you go through the transcripts and you read them thoroughly, read them all the way through, it's fascinating because Dreeben himself brings up the fact that they have this August 2nd memo, that was put together by Rosenstein.
Oh, hang on one second. But the Rosenstein memo is August 2nd, Sarah, just to give people background. And the judge was saying, well, you didn't initiate this investigation. The DOJ handed it over to you, and you thought you could use it to put the screws on Manafort, so he would sing, his words again, not mine, or maybe compose, make things up, as you rightly point out. But they raided Manafort's home July 26th. That means they had to be investigating it way before that. That means it was retroactive on August 2nd when Rosenstein approved it.
Absolutely. And remember, they busted down his door at 3 a.m. He and his wife were asleep. They busted down his door. They came into the home. And now the judge is saying, okay, you have this memorandum. You've turned this over to me. And 75% of it is redacted. I can't even see it. I can't even see the scope of this. I want this unredacted. I want this back in my hands unredacted. I want to see what you guys put in there at the DOJ, what Rosenstein wrote. I want to see the scope of this investigation before we can move forward with it. And that is very important here. All
right, let me go to the second loss on Saturday as it relates to this Russian troll farm. I found that particularly fascinating because that's going to go forward now on Wednesday. And I suspect that, and there was some good legal analysis on this, I suspect Mueller's going to pull out of it. And that's going to be another embarrassment to Mueller. Your thoughts, David Schoen?
I don't know. I just don't feel comfortable predicting these things with Mueller. You never know what his motive is. You never know what backdoor deals are being made with the lawyers who suddenly surfaced in that case. That case could open up a real can of worms. You're talking about a so-called disinformation campaign. I don't know what we're going to see there. It's very interesting, and there's no reason given so far for the judge's decision to move things along unless, again, she's simply exasperated with this stuff.
I know now this week, and this goes into your wheelhouse, Sarah Carter, that the House Intel Committee Chairman Devin Nunes, the House Freedom Caucus members, they are now fed up. They are fed up with the game of Rod Rosenstein. They're fed up with the FBI. They're fed up with the slow walking. They're fed up with the Attorney General. And now there is a lot of talk that they are going to move on the Attorney General and on Rod Rosenstein. What's the latest on it?
Well, they're not backing down, and realize this is the first time that they will be holding Attorney General Jeff Sessions in contempt. Before, it was always holding Rod Rosenstein in contempt and others. This will be the first time they're going to hold Attorney General Jeff Sessions in contempt, and they are frustrated. I mean, 2 weeks ago, they sent a classified letter asking for information. It appears to be on a particular person, and it was completely ignored. Then last week, they sent a subpoena, and it wasn't until they sent the subpoena that they get a response letter back, which I've obtained from the Department of Justice, a response letter back from them saying, no, we're not going to give you anything because this is very dangerous and could threaten national security. And they're saying, no, this can't threaten national security. We have the right to conduct oversight, and we cannot conduct oversight if you keep stymawling us and stonewalling us into all of these every time we request information on any of these issues. So they are very serious about this. I, contacted a number of people on the Hill asking, well, maybe this information is considered national security related. Is it highly sensitive, classified? They said, look, we have the ability to conduct oversight on this. We have people that are able to see these documents. They need to turn them over to us. They need to turn them over now. And if they don't, we're going to move forward with a contempt on Attorney General Jeff Sessions. And I think they feel that is the only thing they can do at this point.
And the Department of Justice and the Attorney General's office is apoplectic, I hear. Meanwhile, they're not doing their constitutional duty, which is allow Congress to do their job, their oversight.
That's it.
All right, stay right there. We'll take a break. More with David Schoen, and my friend Sarah Carter. 800-941-SEAN is our number. All right, as we continue with David Schoen, attorney, and Sarah Carter, David, you wanted to weigh in on the fact that, now people like Devin Nunes and people like Mark Meadows, who's going to join us at the bottom of this hour, they're fed up with the Attorney General, the DOJ, the FBI, and the slow walking. of all of these documents. And by the way, it's the false classification. Well, we can't redact this because it has to do with national security. And then time after time, it's revealed it had nothing to do with national security. Like, for example, James Comey's notes that showed James Comey and the FBI never thought that General Flynn lied. There's no national security concern there at all. That's an embarrassment concern.
That's right. And the redaction of that specific thing that you mentioned was one of the redactions was the explanation for why they didn't believe Flynn was lying. So that was exculpatory information that should have been turned over, let alone not redacted. But yeah, what I wanted to say was this. I hear all this talk about constitutional crisis. I'm not one given to hyperbole. However, if you want to talk about potential constitutional crisis here, it is having a rogue special prosecutor on an agenda undermining our government. It's the Article 1 power of Congress being ignored. It's the Article 3 power of the judiciary demanding answers and being ignored. That's the constitutional crisis here. The branches of government are not working together, and the checks and balances are not working right now. I think we need the president to give a direct order to Mr. Sessions to turn over these things, and I think that ought to assist the contempt process. After all, it is Mr. Trump's Department of Justice. It comes within his Article 2 power.
Last word, Sarah Carter.
I couldn't agree with David more now on this. I think that something needs to be done, and something needs to be done quickly, especially if the DOJ decides to stonewall again. We need this. We need these documentation. We need Congress to conduct its oversight, and we need to know the truth.
Well said, both of you. All right, really well done.